literally, transparent abattoir, open door policy. We're going to be on Landline, like the country's premier television program. They've interviewed and done a walkthrough in this facility. So this is the future of these things, where 2 on the kill floor, 4 on evisceration, and maybe 2 on packing possibly. The meat authority's already asking for additions that I'm like, ugh. I mean, it's like you were suiting up to go outer space.
Yep.
You've got to get into your space suit to go and eviscerate some chickens. That was the takeaway message here. That as Joel was sitting by the deck here and said to everybody, it doesn't even occur to the inspectors that the birds can come into a facility clean in the first place.
Right.
That's $400 in water testing alone for E. coli.
Oh my.
And then they doubled it by the presence of an ice machine. Why? Because the water that's already tested goes through a process, before it's turned into ice. I mean, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly. You're going to be a Hercules.
But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it's come together. I really love this folder. Joel was able to see one of these. I don't believe he'd seen one in person.
No.
And I hadn't fired up at the time. We had to do like an urn thing because we didn't install the hot water service when he was here.
Mm-hmm.
And he was puzzled as to its operation because I believe in his case he's got one that runs through a boiler of some kind.
All of them
and
do.
Cycles the water, right?
This is the first that's been water heated by hot water.
Right, yes.
Every other scalder,
yes.
At least on a smaller scale, is operated under the boiler
yes.
Design, where you have an open flame
yes.
at the bottom,
yes.
off-gassing into your space,
yes.
creating condensation as well, and inefficiently heating metal to then heat your water. So,
he was like, how's it possibly going to stay at temperature? And then, of course, as soon as I fired up the wall unit, I'm like, I've got the thermometer on the water coming on the output. I'm going, oh, whoa, way. And I immediately knew and understood like how this represents a very desirable working condition, because with the water coming through the system, you're not getting buildup of like, sludgy, kind of contaminated water. It keeps it real clean.
right, you're always...
So start to finish, you're dealing with the same kind of water quality that you did from the beginning, even toward the end, and you're flushing the system constantly. So you don't have to, dredge out half a foot of sludgy, manure at the bottom of it. So cleanup is real easy.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking for a hot water service like that for so long, because in Australia, all of the LPG or propane gas units are all compliance limited to a certain temperature.
125.
Yeah.
Yep. They won't go higher.
So I'm setting the little digital display and going up and up and up and up. It's like, hooray! Exactly.
Oh.
And it's really hot. I mean, you can easily, you got to be careful with where you're spraying and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and look, it's really helpful, of course, for washdown too.
Yep.
And I like compact, small solutions like that, because that's preferable to having, a giant boiler system outside that's like,
yep.
using up a lot of power. And it's super efficient too. Like the amount of gas you use for processing is negligible.
Yeah, probably.
They're pretty heavy, 45 kilos at least, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, they're big. They're what, about like 4 feet?
Automatically fill it up.
It's probably on here. Yes,
that hasn't even been touched.
Right.
So I reckon I could get out of this double set probably at least 10 processing days.
10 processing.
Holes in here for a veranda. That's
nice.
Also a requirement of the process. Of the licensee, so that we bring a ute in here, like with a tray, with the birds on it. So we step out onto the tray, and then straight in from the field.
Is that a compost heap?
Actually, that's we hadn't installed the hot water service, and it was getting so close to the event that I said to my interns, "Can you please build me a hot water service?" So that's got that's a 120 litre hot water service that's a cooking compost pile with a coil of pipe in it.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and it's only 55 degrees now, but I wanted something to pre-charge. So there's a Frenchman that's long since passed away in the 70s did this. Jean Paul was his name, and extraordinary. He used to power his entire house, his automobile, everything, his gas stoves, all off compost. So once a year he'd build one of these giant piles, and he had a copper coil going through the middle, and in the center he had a methane digester. And so he'd harvest methane and he'd reverse compress it into gas bottles, and he'd drive his car with that and also cook with it in his house. And the water would cycle through the pipes inside the compost and run through column heaters on his inside his house. So it would heat his house as well. And then at the end of the season, he'd pull apart his compost pile and use all of the compost for his gardening. Pretty good.
Evisceration has been taking place in this area.
Yeah. You know, the act that governs the licensing of these things is only a short document. You know, so most of the stuff is, you know, for interpretation more than anything.
Right.
Really interesting. It's probably worth like
So when you and Joel did this, you had a group of 250 people here,
and we had it open. Yeah.
and did you have this deck here already?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so we just sat on the edge of the deck when we spoke to them, but during the workshops that we had earlier in the week, I've got a good relationship with the butcher shop over there with them because I'm compliant.
Let's get out of the rain.